When seedlings fail indoors, most people blame bad seeds, bad soil, or bad grow lights. So they change brands, upgrade equipment, buy more stuff. But when I actually troubleshoot failed seedlings, the setup actually looks fine. The lights are on, the soil is moist, the seedlings are green. Nothing looks wrong. Today, I'm not giving you more tips. I'm showing you how to spot when growth falls out of sync, because once you see that, seed starting becomes predictable. I also put a full breakdown of this into a blog post with a downloadable PDF you can reference while you're setting things up. I'll link that below. The first failure happens underground before you ever notice a problem above ground. Most seedlings outgrow their containers long before they look big enough to transplant. This is especially common in small cells like 72 seed cell trays. Those trays are designed to start seeds, not to grow seedlings to transplant size. Roots hit the bottom quickly, and once roots stall, the plant slows growth on purpose, even if the leaves still look healthy. This creates one of the most misleading situations in seed starting. Seedlings that look fine but aren't actually progressing. They aren't stressed, they're not dying, they're just stuck. Here's the rule. If roots stall, the plant stalls. You cannot outgrow light a root-bound seedling. And early root restriction doesn't just pause growth, it affects how that plant performs for the rest of the season. The fix to this one is pretty easy. It's earlier potting up, or just getting started in containers that allow for real root depth, not just surface growth. So the rule of thumb is the bigger seed starting cells that you can get, the better. You'll notice that when you go to the garden center and get a 6-pack of seedlings that are probably about that tall, they're in fairly large cells because they know they have to grow those in there until they're actually sold. So start out the same way. The bigger the cell, the better. All right, this next one surprises a lot of people. Most indoor setups have enough light to keep seedlings alive and upright. But that's not the same as having enough light to build energy. Seedlings need light to grow roots, to thicken stems, and to store energy for transplant time. When light is kind of borderline, plants go into conservation mode. So what you get are short, green seedlings that never really gain momentum. Here's the important part. In most cases, the fix is not buying a stronger grow light. Light intensity actually drops quickly with distance. Distance matters way more than the brand of light. Even moving seedlings a few inches closer can dramatically increase usable light. So if your seedlings look fine, but barely change week to week, bring them closer to the light. Close enough to drive growth, not just for survival. So here's the rule. If growth is slow indoors, the plant is conserving energy, not thriving. Healthy seedlings should visibly change every few days. All right, this next one is one almost nobody checks. Seed packets list germination temperatures, but seedling growth temperatures matter just as much. Most homes are cooler at soil level than people realize, especially at night. This means you could be in your house and feel warm yourself, and the leaves of your seedlings could feel warm, but the roots can be cool at the very same time. Cool roots slow nutrient uptake, even when everything else looks perfect. The plant isn't struggling, it's being cautious. Here's the rule. Warm leaves plus cool roots equal stalled seedlings. The fix is targeted heat. Use bottom heat early to establish root systems, and then remove it once growth is steady. Bottom heat is a tool, it's not something seedlings need forever. And this can be done with a seedling heat mat that's set about 70-75 degrees. You could put it on a warm appliance. You could put them on a windowsill over a radiator. Anything that's gonna bring up the ambient temperature of those roots a little bit. This next one doesn't get enough attention. In nature, seedlings experience movement from day one. Wind strengthens stems, it improves gas exchange, and signals the plant to build structure. Indoors, Without airflow, seedlings live in a very still environment. That leads to weaker stems and plants that struggle the moment conditions change, like when you move them outside. And the fix doesn't need to be fancy. An old oscillating fan in the area is usually enough. You don't want constant wind or anything blasting the plants, just gentle, regular movement that causes the leaves to lightly move. It's kind of like a workout for your plants. So here's the rule: no movement equals no strength. Airflow isn't just about disease prevention, it definitely helps with that. It's also about preparing plants for the real world. All right, the next one is a failure that ruins otherwise perfect setups. Starting seeds on time doesn't matter if your transplant window doesn't line up. When seedlings outgrow their containers before outdoor conditions are ready, they can stall indoors, and stalled seedlings rarely recover completely. Indoor time is borrowed time. Once seedlings stall indoors, their development shifts. Roots thicken instead of expand, growth nodes tighten, and energy storage changes. So even if you transplant later into perfect soil and perfect weather, these plants rarely perform like seedlings that were timed correctly from the start. This is why two seedlings from the same packet can produce very different results. One keeps moving forward and the other waits too long. And waiting is almost always invisible until mid-season. And this is where planning matters more than equipment. So instead of counting the weeks forward, you have to plan backward from your real transplant window. And that's exactly what gardenguide.com does. It backs your start dates off real transplant timing for your location. I'll link it below. The goal isn't bigger seedlings, the goal is better timed seedlings. Each one of these issues alone might not kill a seedling, but shallow roots limit energy storage, borderline light slows growth, cool soil reduces uptake, no airflow weakens structure, and bad timing locks everything in place. Nothing looks wrong immediately, but nothing is actually moving forward the way it's supposed to. That's when seedlings survive instead of build momentum. If your seedlings look healthy but never really take off, stop changing products, change the constraints. Indoor seed starting only works when roots, light, temperature, airflow, and timing move forward together. When one stalls, everything else slows down to match it. But when they're in sync, seedlings don't just survive indoors, they carry momentum straight out into the garden. That's how you avoid invisible failures and grow plants that actually perform all season. If you're getting ready to start your seeds and are looking for a good setup, I'll leave a link to a video right here where I'll walk you through everything you need for a perfect seed starting season. I'll see you guys next time.